This video is going to explain the terms of impairment loss and allowance for impairment of trade receivable. Okay, so for a business, right, trade receivable is your credit customer. So you sell goods to your credit customer and they pay later. So at the end of the year, the business will review all its trade receivable. Okay, they will estimate the value of debts that may be uncollectible in the future. So all my trade receivable, they may have people that are not able to pay me. Okay, and this is what we call allowance for impairment of trade receivable. Alright, it's a contra asset. It reduces your trade receivable and therefore is credit in nature. Whenever there's an increase, it's always a plus. But how do business know that they are not able to pay us? So it's based on objective evidence. Alright, to identify the allowance for impairment of trade receivable. So these are some evidence. Number one, trade receivable check is dishonored after repeated reminders for payment. The trade receivable has not continued business for months. The trade receivable keep on postponing payment of his debts or fail to pay his debts for months. And then you try to call them, email them, but they did not answer for several months. So this is just an evidence to tell us that maybe these trade receivable are not able to pay us. It's just an estimation. In the end, they may be able to pay us. Alright? So this is just an estimation based on all this evidence. We conclude that maybe they are not able to pay us. So therefore, this is known as allowance for impairment of trade receivable. Okay, this is recorded in the statement of financial position under the current assets. So during the first year, the business will first create the allowance for impairment of trade receivable. After the first year, this allowance, since we already have the allowance, at the year end, they will compare and it will either be an increase or decrease based on the estimation at the end of the year. Okay, so this change, increase and decrease of allowance, okay, is called impairment loss on trade receivable. Okay, and this will then be recorded in a statement of financial performance under expenses because impairment loss is an expense and therefore is always debit. So with this understanding, alright, what's the journal entry for the increase in the allowance? Alright, so it will be debit impairment loss on trade receivable because expenses increase. Our credit allowance for impairment of trade receivable, okay, because credit is a plus. If it's a decrease, it will be the swap. I will debit my allowance for impairment of trade receivable, okay, as minus. I credit my impairment loss because my expenses minus. Within the year, there will be situation whereby customer may be written off. What is written off? Okay, means that they confirm cannot pay us. So this can be due to debtor cannot be traced. The debtor has passed away and has left no estate from which the business can claim for payment. The debtors has been declared bankrupt by law of the country. So with this, we will know that this customer are no longer able to pay us. We need to remove. So it's called written off. And the journal entry is, if I need to remove this, I will have to minus from the fund I created. Therefore, I debit my allowance and remove that trade receivable. I credit my trade receivable. Okay, because trade receivable, I won't be receiving money anymore. My asset actually minus. It's a decrease. Therefore, I credit. And minus for the fund I created. So this is all the terms that you need to know for this topic.